Hello, everyone. One moment, please. So you have the OBS problem here, as usual. And we'll be up and at 'em right there. You go. Okay, today we're talking restaurants, restaurant business. That is our discussion today. We have the restaurant menu website that is available. This, unfortunately, though, as usual, there are only a few available per city. And so, again, this is one of those things that you really have to jump on really quick in order to have a chance at getting it. I'm just looking for my presentation here. Is that already out here? Oh, it is. Okay, so, all right. Very good, very good. All right, so it's only available. There's only, as I've done in previous shows, I've talked about the fact that it's only three main brands. They're the original brands that we developed for use with that website. And there may be another one in the works. Let me just get this. You need at least a little more lighting. I used to use a lot more, but Xbox Party, how you doing? So we used to have we had just the basic three. We have another one coming up as well. But at this point, generally speaking, most cities only have three available, and that's so basically you got to act fast. What we're going to do, we're going to look at some interesting news and information about the restaurant business. I know there's a lot of people out there that have dreams of owning a restaurant or starting a restaurant. There's a game, by the way, on I believe it's on Steam. Yes, that's a restaurant game. It's fascinating. I'm not a kitchen person myself, but again, I'm more of the business type. But the game actually is cooking. It's a cooking game, but it's more of in a restaurant, not a home cooking thing. It's just fascinating. The quality is outrageous. So you guys have to look at that on Steam. It's fascinating cutting the onions and tomatoes and whatnot. A lot of stuff cooking. You see the steam coming out, boiling while you're doing something right next to the pot. That's great. They really did a good job on those graphics there. Same graphics you see on Eve or some other games where they're going through space and you see that blurriness. It's the same thing, With blurriness is blurriness. But in any case, I look at it that way because I'm more of a game developer than just a player, way more than that. So, but it's fascinating. I'm Reverend Dr. Gavarasa. The name is right there. Can't you see that? What kind of a question is that? Who am I? The Reverend Dr. Gilberto Rosado. That's who I be. Otherwise, I do a lot of things. You can see me on Roku and Fire TV in over 220 million homes. That's who I am as well. And right now, we are broadcasting all over the place, having a good time here. At least what I consider a good time for me. People like myself, which is probably only one that I know of. So, okay, folks. So getting back to the restaurant issue, the game is fascinating. Just simply fascinating. I love what they did with it. I mean, it would be something that I would do, frankly, if I was into kitchen stuff, but I'm not. Unfortunately, my wife complains all the time. You should learn how to cook. Hey, I know how to turn on the stove and put something on, and put some water in a pot and throw something in it and wait, wait for it. See if it's softer than it was before I threw it in, and then let's eat. I'm simple that way. I prefer obviously someone else cooking my meals than cooking them myself. So that's why I insist on that. But in any case, the game is just great. It would have been something like I said that I would have done myself. Um, and I don't know who this is. Let's see who that is. Yeah, live in reality TV. Hello. And then there's no answer. Do you ever get those calls? Fascinating. If Spock were alive today. Okay, so then we have, and it's a great game. It looks like you do things like checking temperatures, of course, so you can leave something on too long, all that good stuff. The exciting stuff like that. But like I said, it's not a game that I would enjoy myself because I'm not into the cooking thing. Having spending the time cooking in a game, I don't even spend the time cooking to feed me. It just doesn't match me. But if they would have made the game more of the administrative, business, marketing, and opening up the business, stuff like that. That's something I would get into. Yeah, I can see myself doing that. Dealing with employees, the management type of thing. That can get exciting, interesting for like a person that's into the administrative perspective. Because you got people in the restaurant business. Now, since we're talking about it, you have staff that's just loafing off. In the restaurant business, you have to also adjust the scheduling of tasks so that you don't have employees that have nothing to do because of the time of day. You're paying a salary and they all should be doing something. So, learning how to manage the time, employees, what they're doing at a certain time, and then having them rotate responsibilities and duties, and then making sure that you have enough staff when the rush comes in. If it's for lunch, the lunch rush. You have breakfast also, breakfast restaurants. There's some here only breakfast. Period. They just do breakfast. They are doing brisk business out there. Let me tell you, they are making a killing out there. I mean, who would have thought it, right? Just breakfast. Because you usually would think the diner, the diners, house of pancakes, right? Even though they're open for all meals. And you have that other, what, the Waffle House, that you can go there also all throughout the day. But since it's waffle, you think about breakfast, unless you're Belgian, of course, a Belgian. But in any case, but knowing like those breakfast restaurants, you would have to have a lot of in the morning. I mean, the morning, the guy's got to open up. The chef has to get started in the early morning, right? You think about the donut guy. What's his name? Was it the donut guy? Yeah, Dunkin' Donuts. Remember the old man? He's up there. He had to wake up 4 in the morning, and I got to get the donuts on started, right? Because he would go in, you would go in and get the food started. You have people starting to go to work at 5, 6 in the morning. So food has to be ready to go. The stoves, the burners have to be up and everything ready. The home fries have to be on the hot plate. So all that has to go out there in a timely fashion. Everyone has to be awake, right? So yeah, and I think if it's a breakfast restaurant or it's a breakfast lunch, you would need to have all your staff mostly ready to go, serving tables and kitchen staff, of course. So it's all about management, and it's the food. I mean, you have to know how to order food so that you have enough for when you're going to use it. You have to know when to order certain things, monitoring the inventory. All of that has to be managed. It's not just cooking. The restaurant business is a more complex than just cooking for your family at home. People but people start restaurants any which way, and they lose a lot of money because of that. A lot of money's lost, and if you're losing money, you have 3 to 5 years to survive, and money is the main factor in that. And if you're bleeding from the beginning, it's hard to recover from that. You need someone to come in and help you. There's some restaurant reality TV shows on the TV where the guy comes in and to rescue that restaurant and all that. It's fun stuff to watch, right? But you've seen the problems. It's all these issues with employees, waste, bad management of inventory, tracking of inventory, terrible customer service. You guys don't know what they're doing. And the other day, I walked into a Krispy Kreme. I don't know what this issue with Krispy Kreme is all about. What is it? For me, it was just Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' Donuts. Then this Krispy Kreme came in, and what did they do? Take over? Why? I still don't get it today. Why is it they get over? I hear about its freshness and things like that, but Dunkin' Donuts, the guy wakes up early in the morning, according to the commercial, right? And then the donuts are there from, I guess, until they run out, right? Is that the way? What do they do at Krispy Kreme? They make the donuts. I've seen them doing the donuts. So what? I mean, they got more customers than Dunkin' Donuts, or why aren't those donuts sitting there waiting to be sold? Because when I walk into a Krispy Kreme, I see donuts waiting to be sold. I don't see any difference between that and the Dunkin' Donuts, except the only difference I saw was you can see the machine making the donuts. That's it. You don't have a guy waking up at 5 in the morning to make the donuts. Now you got a guy waking up in the morning to press the button to the machine that makes the donut. That's the only difference I see and that we know about. But anyway, that's not the story. The case is I walk into this Krispy Kreme because now everybody in the family wants Krispy Kreme all of a sudden. And I'm looking at these workers there, the employees, and they seemed beside themselves. They don't look like they're happy. Now, it's not like you've been dreaming all your life to become a donut maker and in Krispy Kreme. Like, is that's a good. What do you want, Junior, to be when you grow up? I want to be a Krispy Kreme employee. It's not like we hear that. But if you're working for a place, it helps if you feel good and happy that you look like it, at least the customers feel good about eating those donuts that are supposed to be so great. But these guys were dismal. It looked like somebody shot their mothers or something. It really was. It was. I said, what's wrong with these guys? They're young people, but how can these young people be so distraught? The way they carry themselves. And then I was with my son who's working at some other places he's been working at, and so he's been promoted to supervisor, so he has to deal with employees and stuff like that. So we were just commenting, and and he walks up to one of the workers there and he starts talking. So what he finds out? He finds out that the workers there feel all like in prison. The Krispy Kreme, I can't talk about all the Krispy Kremes. This is, I don't know what's going on in the other. I do understand that a franchise owner can run his operation, the way they run. They have a personality, even though Krispy Kreme has a standard and has training and whatnot. It's still, if you have a rotten owner, you people don't feel good about working. So it seems to be that that Krispy Kreme, let's talk straight, has these cameras all over the place, and the what the employees have in their mind for some reason is that the owner is always watching what they're doing, and the owner is watching them to see if they are stealing merchandise or the product, or if they are stealing money in terms of not just physical money. The other way you steal money from an employee, like you guys don't know this, is by not doing your job. Because if you don't do your job, you're sitting around talking or chat typing on the phone or watching me on your phone, because everybody wants to do that, right? Then you're not doing your job. And that's a way of stealing, of course. You're getting paid for not doing the job that you're taking money deceitfully. So the owner then is always watching them, and then when he sees someone lacking off or someone doing, makes the wrong move, tring, like the phone call we just got, but except he's on the other side. Yeah, we tell so and so. I'm looking at him. Tell him to get up his butt and start working on. Make some more donuts. Make some more donuts. Whatever. And the workers, it seems to be so much that the workers, they all of them feel like they're in prison, like they're gonna get in trouble if they look the wrong way or something. It must be, because one thing is for you to monitor, and the other thing is for you to be persistently on people's case and rear end. Being a pain in the butt. You can be a pain in the butt. And I think that in this case, I doubt that Krispy Kreme, as a company and a franchise, would be inculcating its owners or and its administrative training and whatnot, be implicating or inferring that owners should be this way. One thing, and there's this guy on YouTube as well. He does restaurant consulting, and I've heard him say certain things that disturb me. One of the things he said was he deals with like the Spanish. He first of all he says things like the workers, and then automatically they're always Spanish. You see, so he says Pepe or Juan. You got to go and get Juan and see what Juan is doing, because and it seemed like it was a little racist the way he was always. I've been in restaurants. It's not just Hispanics working. That's the way he gets this idea. But probably because they're out in the Texas area and whatnot. Well, yeah, you'll have that a lot of Mexican descendants there, and the immigration. You know how that is. It's so silly. So, chances are a person applying for a job at a restaurant over there, it would be a Mexican more than being a Puerto Rican, let's say. But but I still, the way it came out, it really sounded racist. Oh my goodness. Well, did he actually just say it that way? Because there's no need. When we're talking about employees, they're employees. You don't have to say if they're Hispanic or if they're Mexican or if they're Puerto Rican, if they're black. There's restaurants that, the staff is black. So what? They're people. I mean, who would you rather? You gotta talk truth. I don't want a Chinese person making soul food for me if that's what I was into. Where does that come from? It's just the same issue that I have. When I was in New York. I went to a small pizzeria. I had to get something to eat, so we went in. And we went into this Mexican pizzeria. As a matter of fact, it wasn't that way. Actually, it was a client of mine. I did printing for them, printed up their menus, and did some marketing for them. So, I like to go and patronize my clients. They're patronizing me, they're spending money on me. So I go, I need to eat something, let me go over there. So I go over there knowing, obviously, that they were a Mexican pizzeria. So I said, let me go see. Because the issue was this. For me, pizzas should be made by Italians. I don't know. But it's just my thinking that Italian would know how to make a pizza. And it's true. Let me tell you something what's true about Italian pizzas. It's not true about every Italian place, but if you want to taste a real Italian pizza, you need to find yourself a lady. They usually call her mama, and she's making the pizzas in the kitchen. Okay? That pizza is the best pizza that you're ever going to eat in your life. Okay? Because mama's making it. Hey, listen, if you haven't had pizza by mama, you haven't had pizza. Simple. Because I've been eating pizza all my life, growing up with pizzerias and getting pizza, and there is no pizza like mama makes it. I'm going to tell you right now. And it's probably just the sauce. But the issue is that Mama makes her own sauce. No capiche, huh? Mama makes the sauce. You have to understand that. You see that? That makes the difference because the other guy's Mexican or anything, Bulgarian. They get the Del Monte. That, that's the pizza sauce. They're making that pizza with Del Monte, and you get that standard pizza where everyone's used to. Hey, this is pizza. This is the way it's supposed to taste. But if you're ever in New York City, you need to go to Howard Beach. I hope it's still that way. You go to Howard Beach, and you're gonna eat Mama's Pizza, and you'll see the difference. Another place to go in New York City is they call it Little Italy in Manhattan, down south, Soho, down south in Manhattan, and you go to Little Italy, look it up and Google it, and there's Italian restaurants there. Oh my! And it's not just pizza. You get spaghetti the way it's supposed to be, and try the spaghetti with the olive oil and garlic. Simple. No tomato sauce. No, olive oil and garlic with the meatball. Forget it. You're done, man. They come out with that big bowl, and you taste the spaghetti. Let me tell you, that spaghetti was made in the restaurant. They didn't buy any dried up spaghetti from what is it, Progresso or whatever other companies there are out there. That spaghetti was made that day in the restaurant. Okay? That's handmade. And you can taste it. It's fantastic. So, again, things you have to do before you die, right? So, to get some real pizza. Now, New York is not the only place for real pizza. Surprisingly, and a big surprise is here in Florida, shocked me. I found the same taste that I did in Little Italy and in Howard Beach. And that was from a small, nonchalant pizzeria in a mall. Not in a mall, but it was one of those stores, on the side of one of the mall stores, and a strip mall here in Florida mostly. And one little thing that you would hardly know, it was just a simple pizza sign, because the problem is the mall has its rules, so all the signs have to have the same letter height, and it has to be just the red letter neon on the whatever, that's it, type of thing. So the signs are not going to distinguish the content inside. But we went there. We said, let's try that pizzeria. We're always passing it for ages, passing it, and let's go in and get something to eat. Some pizza, whatnot. So we go in there, and we're shocked because we're expecting some sliced pizza, or some pizza. We just wanted some pizza, get the ready. That most pizza places have a pie ready to go, almost. They just need to heat it up, and they say, we're sorry, but we don't. We always make the pizza fresh with the order. And we say, really? You're making a fresh pizza just for us? Is this how you're doing your business? Yeah. So he said, okay, well, yeah, we can wait. So we sat down there, and we waited, and they brought out that pizza. Let me tell you, that pizza came out. They put it on, like, on the table. There was like a revolving tray, tray sitting up on a pedestal, like that, you can turn the tray. So that was number one. Number two, they placed the pizza there. That pizza was massive. That was the other thing. They told her, this pizza is big, so you don't have to worry. It's good enough for you guys and a lot. And we said, okay. So they brought out that pizza, and we started eating that pizza. I'm telling you, I said, oh my, it's unbelievable. Because in Florida, as far as I could tell, few years I've been here, I haven't been able to find any, a lot of stuff that we're used to, like from New York City. But we found that place and that pizza. That pizza was remarkable and surprising for Florida. I said, my goodness, this pizza reminds me. And I told the lady the story about Howard Beach and all that. And since we came to Florida, it's one of the things we're always missing about New York City. And she said, well, this pizza is made by Mama. That's why I told you about the Mama thing. Mama's in the back, and she doesn't want to retire or anything, so she keeps making the pizza. And it's great. It's great pizza. I'm glad you like it. I let her know that we have another new customer that loves the pizza. So it's like what I tell you. It's simply, and when you find a place like that, and in Florida, it's really hard. It's like a needle in a haystack. It's really a great treat, a gift, really, because all the other pizzerias, they're just like, if I don't want to say anything condescending, any race or anything, but it's not the authentic. It's not authentic. But anyway, so this is what we're talking about, and so the authenticity is really important. But anyway, we get into these with this game. Going back to that game, that the cooking game, um, and people advising on the restaurant business. We were talking about that YouTube fellow and whatnot. I find this whole situation very, very funny. Okay, but let's get into some of the news that we found for you guys today. And I'm going to get out real soon. This is not going to last long. I have a doctor's appointment to go to. Let me just get our display up here. I'm sorry. Let me get this on. It's the screen we want, and we want the display. Okay. And the top cam, it has to be on first. Huh? So it would be if I would Make it happen and bring this higher. All right, guys. So let's see the bottom. You still don't see it. All righty. So we got that. Now, what I found today was interesting articles here. Let me. Uh, some interesting articles that we found here. It's very interesting when you think about starting a restaurant. A lot of people are. It's good for you to do some research and see what's happening in the industry. And there's a lot of interesting articles that you can find here. Here's one of Italians. We were talking about the Italian restaurant. New York Italian restaurant Felidia settles wage theft lawsuit. So something was happening. We're getting sued for stealing wages there, or somebody. Let's read that a little bit and see what's the gossip there. It was against them. They say that they settled for $10,000. The workers claim they spent over 20% of their shifts performing non-tip duties, and yet was still paid at tip wage level. See, now the guy I see on YouTube, he gives the advice that you should change the tips. I'm sorry, change the wage amount. If they're doing another job, then they should be paid that job's wages. Okay, so that's how he is consulting and telling the restaurant owners to do. These guys, though, in this what is it, Felidia, they weren't doing that. They was just paying the same lowly wage because they pay them the servants. I call them servants, but they call these servers the low wage. Why? Because they tell them, well, you're going to get the tip, so the tips will compensate for the low wage. But then they're having them to do other types of work, but keeping them on the low wage, and they can't get the tip. You see. So that was very sneaky. Of course, it would never have worked in front of a judge or a jury. Uh, okay, so that's happened with that, and that's usually the case. You really shouldn't be doing anything that will not hold water in front of a judge or jury. So you have to really think about what you're doing when you're running a restaurant, any business for that matter. And this is from the Washington Post. The sky is falling for fast food, but not for Chick-fil-A. So we're seeing some of the issues with the restaurant business. Um, it says through the diligent efforts of those billboard cows with their poor penmanship and dubious spelling skills, Chick-fil-A has moved up the ranks from the seventh largest restaurant chain in the United States to become the third. Now that's a big move. That's a gigantic move. That's really good. Good for you. The and that they're closed on Sundays. They're closed on Sundays for religious reasons at the core of it. So that's amazing. The chicken sandwich giant blew past Wendy's, open on Sundays. Burger King open on Sundays. Taco Bell open on the Sundays, and Subway open on Sunday on its asset with 10.46 billion in American store sales. Man, only if you had 1% of that. That's what our restaurant menu business gives you 1 through 20%, depending on what the brand is and what part of the menu is being sold, or also if it's a reservation or not, etc. But can you imagine 1%? My goodness. And of course, this is the chain wide here. According to Nation's Restaurant News, latest countdowns, up 17% for the year. Chick-fil-A stands behind only McDonald's and Starbucks. Can you mean so? Starbucks is not in the same category in terms of you're not going to go to Starbucks. At least I don't know. I don't use Starbucks, so I don't know what they have. I know it's coffee. That's all I know about Starbucks. But McDonald's. I mean, then they're second to McDonald's. In my view, they're second only to McDonald's, and that's fantastic. That is really fantastic. They've really made it up to the McDonald category, which makes it a very very hot franchise right now. That's what it's turning out to be. Average sales for a Chick Fil A location is 4.6 million. Okay, are you guys seeing this? Look at that. Let me blow it up more so you can see it. For average sales for a Chick Fil A location brought in 4.6 million last year, up from 4.2 million the year before. Ooh, they're in church. The owners are in church singing the praises to the Lord. Oh my goodness. $4.6 million. Fantastic. Now, in our program, you can get 1 through 20% of the restaurant's receipts. So even just at 1% from one, because that's what we're doing. We're giving you the menu for one of our restaurants. Okay, so the restaurant will not have a website. The website we're giving to you if you join us, that will be the website for the restaurant. You will have the menu for the restaurant on your website, nowhere else. You will have through your website, people can order to the restaurant and you will get a percentage of the order. They can book and reserve through your website, and you will get a percentage of all that business. They can book a party, they can book the office party, whatever you will get a percentage of all that business. And then there's the app. If you choose to upgrade your account so that we can do the app, you will have the only app for that restaurant. The people downloaded the QR code, download code will be in the window of the restaurant. People walk by, oh, let me download that menu and be able to order and whatnot. There will be delivery service, okay? So you will have a part of all of that. Now, if we had the Chick-fil-A, for example, 4.6 million, one location, and the owner of this restaurant's website and download app that facilitates the ordering would have made 1%. Let's say 1%. You can make up to 20%. Okay, but it's the average comes out a high 12% because a lot of the stuff is 20%. But I like to go to the 1% just for example, so people can understand 1% is a lot, and let alone the 20. 1% is really good money because the restaurants make a lot of money. Okay. Now, 1% of 4.6 million, that's $46,000. Let me see if I got that right. 10% would be 400. No, that's, 400,000. And then it would be $40,000 just at 1%. Let me get the calculator out here. Because 1% is what 1% because 10% of 4.6 million would be 460,000, and then 1% is $46,000, right? At 1%. So, and we're giving up to 20%. So 2% would be $92,000. 3% would be 120 plus $1,000, and it just keeps going up. So at 1%, $46,000 is good money just for having, because really all you have is a website and you're not doing anything. So for having a website and not doing anything, $46,000 a year is fantastic. You can lose your job and, oh, did I lose my job? You won't notice it. I mean, of course, you when you start making this money from this website, you start adding to your expenses and lifestyle. So I just wanted to point that out. Also, with this today, I gotta go, so I can't be with you guys longer today. When I get back, I'll do some more. I do want to encourage you to look into our restaurant website business, which I will do the full presentation later on this afternoon, and we will cover all the details, well, at least most of the details for the presentation, because this program is really, really in depth. There's a lot of complexity in it. Not that it means more work for you, it just means more money for you. But we'll talk about that later on. But wow, what an opportunity. And unfortunately, only 3 to 4 of you listening to me now could have one of these, because that's the limit per city. So you really need to move on this if you have ever. And the thing is, well, but I've always wanted to make my Peruvian restaurant. Or you're talking about a restaurant that you guys are making. But when do I make my own restaurant, if that's something that you want to do? Well, that's why you got to listen to the presentation, because yeah, your restaurant is included, okay, in it. But you got to do first things first. There's certain worries, certain stressors that you have to resolve first. That's why you haven't started your restaurant, right? And you're taking a risk always. Most restaurants don't make that, and most restaurants don't survive. Okay, so I'm going to show you why our method of starting your own restaurant is the best one around. Okay, so that I'll be talking about later on today. Have a great day. I'm going to go out myself, put in my Bach and the radio, blasted in Orlando here. So if you're ever in Orlando and you hear Bach on the road, that's me. Yeah, I can say that quite literally. I haven't heard anyone else do that. So you know that I'm around when you hear that on the road. Take care. I'm gonna have some fun right now. Take care. Bye bye. Oh man.